message. So,
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for attending the 12th Asia Smart City Conference, thematic session on decarbonized and attractive living. I'd like to introduce the moderator and panelists of this session. First, Mr. Atsushi Watabe, Program Director at the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies. And Mr. Kazuaki Takahashi, Executive Director for Planning and Coordination Department, Climate Change Policy Headquarters, City of Yokohama. And Mr. Pomprom Vikit Said, Advisor to Governor of Bangkok Metropolitan Administration and Chief Sustainability Officer of Bangkok. Mr. Takeshi Konishi, Senior Managing Director, Goon Company Limited. The discussion will now be facilitated by the moderator, Mr. Watabe.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I am Atsushi Watabe, Program Director for Sustainable Consumption and Production, and leading the Sustainable Lifestyle team at the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, Japan. And I'm very much honored to be with you and distinguished speakers at the panel session discussing the important issue of the urban innovation for decarbonized and attractive living. And urbanization in Asia is progressing rapidly, with many cities experiencing growth rates that outpace the other regions. And this growth is fueling an expansion of affluent urban lifestyles, which are characterized by high levels of consumption and carbon emissions. So to address this big challenge and ensure a sustainable future for the region, and as was highlighted by the previous session, the important issues of the inclusiveness and respect to diversity and ensuring the well-being for all of the city's residents. We must learn from various cities and other actors of the region, including business sector, citizen, civil society organization, and so on, toward the challenges and opportunities to enable inclusive, resilient, and net zero future in the cities. Can I request yes, thank you very much. So, as a background, let me introduce some of the context of the session. In terms of our efforts toward making the sustainability and resilience of the cities, the importance of the shift of lifestyles have been gradually highlighted in the recent literature, including the policy discussion, research articles, and so on. And the recent IPCC report, published 2022, has a new chapter highlighting the demand-side climate mitigation, including the lifestyle changes. And this graph shows that depending on the sectors like food, energy, transportation, and so on, there is maximum 70% potential of mitigating the greenhouse gas emissions by addressing the demand side, including our lifestyles. However, when we talk about the shift of lifestyles, we as consumers, or we as someone who are engaged in the policy making, tend to jump into the issue of behavior change. However, I would like to highlight that behavior change is important, but not the end of the story, because behavior change without the change in the context, such as the technologies, infrastructures, social norms, or regulations, will not last long. So the same IPCC report also stresses the importance of the systemic transitions toward decent living including the changes in their citizens' lifestyles, citizens' engagement in the policy-making process, or investment to enable more technological development or development in their novel service provisions toward enabling decarbonized and circular ways of living in the population. So in this context, I'm so happy to invite the representatives from Yokohama City, the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, as well as the business sector, who will introduce us their visions about the current challenges and current opportunity to work with the citizens, businesses, civil society, toward making these systemic changes, toward enabling the city's context to support people's sustainable, resilient, and inclusive ways of living. So, and as their session context highlight, we would like to particularly tap into the two opportunities of their urban areas, which we can rely on when we consider the shift of lifestyles towards sustainable and resilient future. The first one is the importance of the local resources. So, for example, Yokohama City has been collaborating with more than 16 other towns and cities in Japan towards securing their renewable energy resources to be provided to Yokohama City. So this kind of support of the local resources, as well as sometimes combined with the cross-regional cooperation, will enable us to accelerate the shift toward sustainable, decarbonized future. And local resources can also help us building their urban environment, which is healthy and more affluent living. For example, the protection of the farmland areas or protection of the forest area, rivers, as all of these are also promoted in the city of Yokohama, which help us make urban living more healthier as well as more attractive to the urban residents. So, and last but not least, to better utilize these local resources, we would also need to tap into another local resource, which is the wisdoms of the residents that can help us identify the best way to utilize the local resources, such as the natural resources, cultures, or the renewable energies, and so on. And the other important resource or opportunity we can tap into is the digital technologies. As was also mentioned in the previous session, so digitalization can provide us good opportunity to better utilize the local resources towards the shift to sustainable, decarbonized, and circular ways of living. For example, just as an example, urban food wasting is a big challenge both in Yokohama and Bangkok. But in both cities now, mobile applications are helping the restaurants, shops, and so on to appropriately allocate their excessive food items for those who are in need of these food stuffs. So we can consider and learn from other cities and other business sectors how best we can utilize the digital technologies to further enabling sustainable, decarbonized living. So, some additional background, I would also like to introduce some of their actions we, as the Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, are working on the sustainable living in the Japan and other ASEAN context. The first one is the so-called 1.5 degree lifestyles project. We tap into the scientific research about the carbon footprint, which shows that 60 to 70% of the carbon footprint globally, in particular in the developed economies, comes from the consumption of the urban and other area citizens. So we work with the citizens, local administrations, and business sector to learn how we can enable the lifestyle and behavior shift to make the low carbon behavior changes in their cities. But to do so, we need to be careful in learning from the local context. For example, this is just one case in the local town in Japan where aging and depopulation is rapidly progressing. And in such a context, the train and bus services are decreased in the area. So in such an area, if we just tell citizens, please stop using private cars to reduce carbon footprint, that is really unrealistic. And in this discussion among the citizens, so, well, this is not an option for them. However, if we carefully learn from the local context and listen to the people, they also highlight the importance of the shift of the transportation system. Because regardless of the need for decarbonization, aging, depopulation will go further. And then in 10 years or 20 years, in this town, people will face that everyone are unable to drive. So anyway, they will need to consider different mode of transportation that can help local people to reach their day-to-day needs without depending on the private vehicle. So in this way, by way of learning the local context and particularly the local challenges, we can consider the different approaches, more inclusive approaches of the shift to sustainable and low carbon lifestyles. And the other way is the actions of the plastic reduction, which is also highlighted by the delegate from India. We are working in 4 countries in Asia to reduce single-use plastics in the campuses, universities and school campuses by using their behavior science approaches. For example, by adding additional cost to the single-use plastic cups or straws. But this kind of challenge is not a straightforward one because sometimes we face the challenges of the cooperating vendors of food or beverages, drinks, and so on, because the sudden change in the business practices will damage the businesses. So we need more careful learning process with all of the partners, including the business or local administration, school administration, so on, to gradually change the systems instead of just jumping into the changing behaviors. So these are some of the cases we want to highlight because these tell us the importance of the participatory, inclusive changes toward systemic changes instead of just behavior changes. So that said, this leads to some of the questions we want to highlight in this panel discussion sessions. So with the representative from the city of Yokohama and Bangkok Metropolitan Administration and a private company called Goon, I would like to ask them 3 guiding questions. The first one is, what are the measures to address issues arising from urban lifestyles? And the second question is, what are opportunities for citizens and businesses to participate in building sustainable lifestyles that utilize local resources? And the third question is, what is the role of local government? So I will stop here and start asking these questions to the panelists. So first, please change the slide to Mr. Takahashi's slide. So, Mr. Takahashi, what are the measures for Yokohama City to address the lifestyle shift in the case of Yokohama, please. So
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your introduction, Mr. Watabe-san. I'm Takahashi, Climate Change Policy Headquarters, City of Yokohama. And from me, I'd like to explain about Yokohama City's action to tackle with climate change, especially in terms of behavior change. First, let me just explain our situation. This slide shows the energy consumption at house in Yokohama City. As you can see, the energy consumption in Yokohama City has been decreased gradually. But on the other hand, from household sector in blue bar is stable, and we understand that energy reduction or CO2 reduction from household sector is challenging for a carbon neutral society. We understand that the main measures for carbon neutrality will be energy reduction and renewable energy installations. As Watabe-san explained, we have contract with 16 cities or towns for securing renewable energy. More for promoting these solutions, empathy for climate action with citizens is necessary. But the problem is CO2 and energy is invisible. People cannot easily understand the relationship between CO2 emission or energy usage in usual life and climate change. So Yokohama is now trying to create an attractive future and a carbon neutral society. We believe that not only energy reduction and renewable energy installation, but is carbon neutral carbon action, but a lifestyle change such as local production and consumption with local resources and resource circulation by such as sharing economy with this technology can contribute to carbon neutral by reducing life cycle CO2 emissions. We are planning to take step-by-step approach from low-cost emissions to high-cost measures. And we are now conducting this program named Attractive Lifestyle and Carbon Neutral Society. Under this program, now I have a discussion with various stakeholders such as business sectors, NGOs, and citizens to build a local model and business model for conducting attractive lifestyle. And we like to build this kind of attractive lifestyle and spread this to various citizens for a carbon neutral society. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Takahashi. So the Yokohama City, the important point will include the starting with some of the low-cost measures for behavior changes for low carbon lifestyle. But eventually, your ambition is to invite citizens and business sectors into the co-creation of more the drastic changes for decarbonized lifestyles. Thank you very much. And then I would like to ask the same question to Mr. Prom from Bank of Metropolitan Administration. What will be the opportunities? What measures Bank of Metropolitan Administration is taking toward enabling decarbonized ways of living in Bangkok?
So thank you very much. I think the sustainable lifestyle is a very important topic because, when you focus on sustainability, private sector, especially big companies, they do very well, or they have strong targets already, but how to get SME involved and get individuals, households involved is a very important question, and how to promote sustainable lifestyle is an integral part. So I think just to, quickly with the point of introduction, issues that arise from urban lifestyles are those, of course, traffic, which is in Bangkok is a very big problem. There's information from Mahidol University that's pretty much say that there's one vehicle per person in Bangkok, of course, that contributes a lot, including 5 million of those passenger cars. There's the issues coming from overcrowding and the lack of access to green space. And of course, waste generation, which is 1.5 to 2 kilograms per person per day. Half of that is organic or food waste, which is difficult, but a problem that we are trying to fix in BMA. And of course, energy use in Bangkok. And also, as we are the capital city, the economic hub of Thailand, we account for 15% of Thailand's overall greenhouse gas emissions. So I think the first example we'd like to talk about is transport. In Bangkok, so far we have good transportation systems in terms of the main lines. So you see the SkyTrain, the BTS, or the underground system is pretty much covering majority of the city. But the problem which is focused by the governor, the transport division, is how to tackle the problem of the feeder, the first and the last mile, how to get from your homes to your nearest train station, and how to get from your nearest train station to your point of destination, whether it be work or to shopping or others. That many things that we want to support. Of course, we talk about the feeder buses, but I think we start from the smallest part. So non-motorized transport, to improving the walkway, the footpath, make sure that it's a universal design that is compatible not only for healthy human beings, but for those disability and many more. We want to improve the bike lanes. So the bike lanes, we don't expect to have it across the entire city with a wide range of networks, but to have the bike lanes to tackle this first and last mile system. So we recently had a car-free day event in September, but usually it's normally just an event where people go and say, okay, let's not drive today. But we wanted this car-free day to have a more symbolic outcome. So what we did was that we involved many active citizens, and everyone got on their bike in all of our 50 districts and explore where is the potential that we can produce and to do the bike lanes and also walking lanes in the small alleyways, etc., and linking from the area of high population density, dense communities to their nearest transport station. So during that car-free day, we explored more than 600 kilometers worth of potential routes to be for the bike lanes. Yep. And also, yes, we not only consider those, but water transport, three-wheelers that we promote with a sharing facility, green facility. We also look to open up what is Bangkok assets, for example, public parks, district offices where it's strategically located around town for EV ecosystem, looking to add EV chargers, because we still face question of chicken and egg. What comes first, EVs or the infrastructure? So we think we support in the infrastructure side very well. For the waste segregation is a big problem for Bangkok. We spend a lot of our budget on waste management, but in order to tackle this issue, it has to come from the upstream, how to reduce waste at the household level, and how to encourage people, everyday citizens, to recycle, separate their waste. So I think actually we did interesting research with the Thailand Development Research Institute, TDRI. And they say that the most important thing is that you need to tell the people where the waste is going. No point just telling recycle, separate the waste when they don't know where the waste will go. Just giving the information that the waste will be utilized into something that can, give back to society. It will give more encouragement for people to separate. For example, in this picture, you see a lady wearing a fluorescent uniform. This is our street sweepers. So we say that we want citizens to separate PET bottles, and then we inform them that these PET bottles, 42 of those can be upcycled into a uniform. And this also tackled the health problems, accident problems, because usually the person on the right is the usual uniform. When they come out to work during the morning, early morning, still dark, could be an accident on the road. So this also, the fluorescent will, make it super clear, and the cars driving can see these from far away. Also, the difficult plastics like multi-layer and LDPE, where people say, oh, it's so difficult to recycle. We also work with a big company in Thailand to turn it into what can be utilized in our dog park in Suan Rat Phai, where these multi-layers are recycled and upcycled into playing machines for pets. So this also everyday objects that people of Bangkok see, they can relate to, okay, this is why we should recycle. And also we need to build up the trust of the public. When they say, if they separate the waste, will BMA throw it all back together? Then what's the point? So we need to ensure that our infrastructure is ready to build the trust. So we have every district separate collection trucks for food waste only. And we also communicate that once your food waste collected is managed properly by going in compost or giving it to farmers that can be used for animal feedstock. Yeah. And the last one, I think we focus on green space, but in the dimension of accessibility. So if we have a lot of green spaces, but they're all only in one area, that's not good. We need green spaces to be abundant, but also spread out to all around Bangkok. So you don't need to drive your car to access the park. You can access through walking, so in the map on the right is what we use to analyze. We draw 800 meters diameter around the park and see this is the area where people can access through walking. And then we can see where is the missing link, where's the gap, and then we try to identify public space, private space that can turn into a park. Small pocket parks. So I think this is what we're trying to achieve in terms of increasing accessibility. Today, it's nearly 60% of people of Bangkok can access the park. We need to achieve more and more, and up towards 100%. And then lastly, we try to get people to be involved in planting the trees. With Bangkok, we have a campaign to plant 1 million trees. And it's not only big businesses or BMA planting. We want individuals. Through your line application, you can plant your tree, take a picture, and your tree can be one of the 700,000 trees that already been planted in Bangkok. So tackling the sustainability problem and trying to get individuals to be involved in the process.
Thank you very much, Dr. Prom. I think the key here is, among the several issues Mr. Prom has introduced, including the clean transportation and the waste separation, as well as the green spaces. I think the key is the access, the clean transportation. If that is isolated from the people's living area, or residential areas, that is virtually no use. So the access, the last 1 mile issue, is the key to make people more confident with the use of this alternative mode. And also the green spaces, as Mr. Prom said, the access, again, is the key. That should be everywhere instead of just making one big park in the center of the city. And finally, the segregation is also the access to the way forward of the waste separation. Sometimes this is invisible to the citizens, so people are unfamiliar why we are doing so. But if we know well that what difference we can make by separating the waste, then that will encourage them to continue their practices. So thank you very much for these cases. Now, finally, I would like to ask Mr. Konishi the same question. What are the measures you are taking to address the issues of urban lifestyles?
Thank you very much, Watabe-san. So my name is Takeshi Konishi from Goon Company Limited. We are a waste management and recycling company based in Yokohama City. And then we put up a recycling facility in Cebu in the Philippines in 2017. So as to the topics of the what's the issues to be addressed in terms of the waste management. So I'd like to focus on the waste management points here. So let me explain this slide. So unlike in Japan, in the Philippines, not only Cebu, but other areas in the Philippines, so except the so-called high-value materials, which is sellable to the market, like PET bottles or cartons or metals and so on, other portion of the waste have been landfilled in a mixed fashion. So then, without any pretreatment. So that's why in the case of Cebu, around 70 to 80% of all the waste have been landfilled. So then every time we visit the LGUs or even to the private companies who are disposing of a lot of waste, the first topics that we have to talk to is the segregation. But as Watabe-san pointed out, and also the Pom-san explained to us, so what's the purpose of the segregation? That's a very important thing. So as a recycling company and waste management company, we Goon is now focusing on showing our recycling facility to LGUs, local government units, and as well as to private companies, and even to the general people who are interested in waste management, so that we can show them what's the purpose of the segregation. Once the people can see the recycling route, once they can confirm the traceability of the waste, most of them can understand. Then they can implement the segregation. So that's our focus. Then let me introduce two examples for us then with a transaction with the LGUs in the Philippines. So this is the example of Danao City. Danao City is the very important cities in Cebu. Then it has around 160,000 people. Then, as you can see on the bottom left shows, this is the scene of the explanation by our sales and marketing manager to the barangay chief and the barangay staff. Barangay is the village. So the first step is to explain to them what kind of segregation is needed, what is the purpose. So that is very important thing. We took around not only 1 hour, but maybe 2 or 3 hours to discuss with them. So then, actually, some of them pointed out, why do we have to segregate so many? Because it's very, very easy to dispose the waste in a mix, just to dump into the dump site. So that's very important discussion. Then we explained to them that, okay, we understand how easy it is to dispose of waste to the landfill site in a mixed fashion. But let's think about the next generation. So let's think about your kids. Let's think about your grandson, daughter. So we have to do something for their future. That is all about the waste management and recycling. So then after this step, Danao City actually did the trial segregation at household. Then after that, they brought the segregated waste plastics to their facility, as you can see on the center picture. Then after that, they segregated. Then segregated materials were delivered to our facility, which you can see on the top right picture shows. This is the activities we did since July 2023. Now, so the segregated waste materials volume has been increasing, gradually increasing. Then our final product of the waste is alternative fuel to be used in cement factory. So to do it, yes, you need to separate the food waste, or you need to separate the glass bins and so on. But not just telling the story only, but important thing is to do the trial segregation and trial processing. So then showing it to the people. That's very important thing. Then let me explain to you another example. So actually, before we go into Danao City, we started with Mandaue City in Cebu. So they have almost 400,000 people. Then we started this trial in 2018. So then this pie chart shows the recycling ratio in our facility. 100% of the raw materials comes in from Mandaue City. Then how many percentage could be recycled as alternative fuel? We started with 65%. But now, so the average recycling ratio is almost 85%. Why we could do it? So the most important thing is for us to repeatedly and continuously giving feedback in the quality information to Mandaue City. Then based on that information, they educated and disseminated the better segregation to the barangay, village level. Then moreover, since our company headquarters is located in Yokohama City, Yokohama City's Resource and Recycling Division and International Affairs Bureau are continuously supporting us and supporting to the LGUs how Yokohama City have been disseminating the proper segregation to the general people. Then they gave the brochure, they gave the experiences, how they have been explaining to the general people. So thanks to those efforts, we are now seeing 85% of recycling rate. So those are the addressing of the issue of the waste segregation and recycling from our experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konishi. I was really enjoying your intervention. Well, I was listening your speech like the great case of the common development of alternative framing to the issue of waste separation. Waste separation, if we impose some local area, please start waste separation from today. Just as the issue of waste separation, maybe people will respond, like you said, that why we have to do such a time-consuming things. But you are I think developing the alternative framing together with the local citizens and local administration, and sometimes inputs from the Yokohama City, the alternative framing of the waste separation as in the context of the waste management systems developed in collaboration with the citizens for the future generation. Thank you very much. And I think all of you have already responded somehow to the second question, which is what is the opportunity for citizens or business sector to participate in the co-creation of sustainable future of the urban lifestyles or urban society. So can I come back now to Mr. Takahashi on this question?
Yes. I believe that there are two things for citizens' opportunities. One is co-creating business and local model for sustainable lifestyle. I understand that the lifestyle changes for carbon neutral also brings benefits such as convenience, healthy, resilience with ensuring food or energy security, and thermal comfort. Thus, participation of citizens for creating models can make it more attractive and accessible. Another one is supporting organizations which conduct sustainable activities and develop products or services contributing to carbon neutral. This kind of movement would accelerate transformation for carbon neutral. That's all.
Thank you very much. Can I ask another question, Mr. Takahashi? So you said there's some of the local participatory movement. Can you share one case of such a movement?
Yes. Actually, now I'm now discussing with other stakeholders. And one of the cases is promoting active movement without vehicles, as Tom-san explained. And this kind of active movements would reduce GHG emissions, but also it brings our healthy by using our bodies. So this kind of lifestyle changes not only reduce GHG emissions, but improving our well-being and bring attractive future.
Thank you very much. This is very interesting. Yeah. Now I would like to ask Mr. Prom the same question. What opportunities are there for citizens and business sector to participate in the Bangkok's efforts to sustainable cities and lifestyles?
So I think every project we do, every policy we do, we always focus on partnership. So we would like the private sector, the civil society, academia, and, just individuals to be involved in our project. I talked about, exploring the bike lanes with active citizens, the bikers. Also, I think for waste segregation or waste reduction, I think we always try to involve the businesses, private sector as much as possible. Compared to last year, the waste total of Bangkok went down by, on average, 500 tons a day. This is not only due to the work of Bangkok, but us going to talk to all the businesses, all the shopping malls, everywhere that, we have to have a collective action in reducing the waste. So what we do at BMA now is we have a list of 22 different places. So temples, 1, shopping malls, 2, schools, offices, markets, fresh markets, etc. So we have a list of 22 places, and each of our district need to go to explore in these 22 places how many shopping malls in this district, how many temples, and then so they know strategic where are the locations, and then going into support to those places and say, okay, if you would like to separate the waste, we help to teach you the ecosystem, how to use separate bins. What is the system linking them with farmers who may come to collect the food waste or organic waste? So our role is to facilitate all these sources of waste production and supporting them to reduce. And then once they do well, we ensure to reward them, ensure that it's a carrot and stick. You know, if they don't do well, maybe we give them some measures. If they do well, we give them reward. So this is very important. But also for green space, we know that it's difficult to find land in Bangkok. You know, it's a very now compact city, very highly dense, and there are landowners who are looking to do something with their land. You know, they may have to pay higher tax, but we say, okay, if you are willing to give us land to rent or to give us to turn into public space, then we can work together. So we also involved these private citizens, businesses who have land to support us. Sometimes they rent out the land and they also help to invest in, you know, the facilities like playgrounds, etc. So I think this is a way that we work together to improve the city. The city administration cannot do it alone. It needs to involve every factor. Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's also super interesting case and like the waste separation. So if we want to disseminate some new practices, I think the key is to identify who can be the local like influencer or who can be the hub for the information. So in this case, the temples or the workplaces, markets can be the good influencer for the local people. And in the case of Konishi-san, the barangay leaders can be the good influencer. So together with involving these influencers, we can create different cultures instead of imposing new practices of people. Thank you very much for this case. And Mr. Konishi, can I also ask, what are the opportunities? You are from the business sector, and what are the opportunities for the business sector or for the citizens or local leaders you work with to participate in the effort to sustainable cities, sustainable lifestyles?
Thank you very much. Thank you for asking. Can I use my presentation material again? So I'd like to explain to you the 2 points in the opportunities for the improvement of the waste management towards the general people. So one of them is, again, let me explain this slide, especially the bottom half. So from the conventional way of the waste management, we proposed to the LGUs and private companies that as long as people or company can segregate the waste, especially separating from the wet waste and dry waste, most of the dry waste can be recycled mainly for the fluff fuel. We call it fluff fuel, the alternative fuel. So as you can see on the bottom, so mixed plastics or papers or textiles or cartons or styrofoam, those are all can be recycled as a fluff fuel, alternative fuel. Then because of this new recycling system, so the landfilling percentage could be reduced from 70 to 80% level to 40 to 50% level. Of course, there are remaining portion of the 40 to 50%, which is biodegradable waste, but at least the 1/4 of the total waste could be shifted to the recycling. So when we show this effect to the general people, most of the people can easily understand, okay, this is the purpose of this recycling. This is the purpose of the segregation. So then I'm very optimistic about it. So as long as people can understand the purpose and the effect of the segregation, they can implement, they can do it. So that's what I've been doing. And another point, another opportunity is about the circular economy agenda. So this is the story of our headquarter recycling facility in Yokohama. So last December, we invested the pelletizing machine and to start the pelletizing of the waste plastics. So why? Because of the recent trend of the need in the circular economy by the reputable companies and society itself. So not just producing alternative fuel from waste plastics, we thought we have to explore the material recycling, plastic to plastic. So that's why you invested. So in the material recycling line, so we segregate the material first, then also remove the contaminants like metals or other glass beans and so on, then shred it, then agglomerate to make a small pieces, then pelletize it. So as you can see on the bottom portion, so we are producing pellets from PP and HDPE or LDPE and so on. Then recent trend is like this. So this is the example of the corrugated plastic to corrugated plastic, CP to CP project. So one of the corrugated plastic manufacturer is now seeking to structure the the products to new products. So why? Because from the viewpoint of that manufacturer, after using the corrugated plastics for the moving or the construction sites, so all of them have been just be disposed of. So then the company thought this is not good. That's why they are seeking corrugated plastic to corrugated plastic. Then luckily our investment timing of the pelletizer was very good. So now we are doing the trial of the reproducing of the corrugated plastic from our plastic pellets. So not just this example, other food manufacturer or beverage manufacturer or the supermarket, those sectors are very interested in plastic to plastic. So this is our big opportunities, not just ours, but most of the recyclers have the potential opportunities for that. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konishi. So there are two opportunities, including the people's capacities. If we can, make them confident of the purposes and how to do it, people can adapt to their alternative practices. And the second opportunity is the circular economy, including their development of the new technology to enable material-to-material recycling that will be their different side of their circular lifestyle, because their circular and decarbonized lifestyle cannot be enabled only by the effort of the citizens or behavior change. This should be supported by the changes in the systems, including the technological systems. Thank you very much for addressing this important point. Well, the last question for the panelists is building on their insights about the opportunities and measures for enabling sustainable living. What are the role for their city's government to further facilitate the shift to sustainable, decarbonized, and circular and affluent lifestyle? In the case of Yokohama, Mr. Takahashi, please.
I'd like to point out three things for the role of the local government. One is sharing information on understanding about what the climate actions are and why we conduct climate actions. And as Bron-san and Konishi-san explained, as recycling cases, it will be very bring us very hint about this kind of understanding issues. But since energy and GHG emissions are invisible, as I explained, it will be the challenging space for bringing understanding about the climate action. And second is building building network and stage for co-creating lifestyle, business and local model, which are attractive. This kind of concept is under development. We like to create more concept and models for the attractive future by changing their lifestyle. Last one is cooperation between cities. Cities, especially Asian cities, are center of economic activities, have power to transform change happen. I hope that this meeting is a first step and continue to discuss and share our challenges to develop and cooperate our activities.
Thank you very much. This is very clear. And then now, Mr. Prom, what is the role of the local city's government to promote the shift toward sustainable future?
So I think Mr. Takahashi is spot on with his 3 points. First of all, I think giving information is crucial through education. I think, for BMA, we have 437 schools. At least we start from our schools telling the children why, the important questions of why they have to act on the environment. Today, we have many courses in the school of how to segregate the waste properly, building on to recycling bank, so they actually see the economic side already since as a child of why they should be separating the waste. But what we're trying to push for now is beyond only waste segregation, but other sort of environmental education. Climate change is a very difficult concept to grasp, especially when you're young. It's not really a direct effect on you. So this is unlike PM 2.5, where you can actually see it with your own eyes on very bad days, and you know that when you breathe it in, it's bad for your health, bad for your lungs. But climate change, you don't see carbon dioxide in the air, it's invisible. And when you ask your teacher, what is the effect of climate change, it becomes a science lesson, because they say, oh, it could lead to more evaporation, causing further flash floods, rainfall, or the rise of the sea levels could affect you. And it's more of an indirect effect on you. But it's a very important question that should be highlighted since education. And it's very strong impact in terms of once the children believe it, they live it, then they go back to their homes and tell their parents. Well, if their parents don't listen, their grandparents will listen for sure. That is the great effect of education. And other things for the city can do, the facilitation. I think so many businesses, civil society want to help the city to make it a better place. So how to help them help the city better. So this is all about facilitation. So I mentioned through my, previous talks that involving all the stakeholders in all of our projects is a key priority. Ensuring two-way communication between the city and citizens is very important. So I mentioned about, you can plant trees and tell the local government that you already planted, you become part of the system. But also in terms of telling the problems to the local administration is also what we highlighted on. We have platform called Trafi Fongdu, where if you see any problems on the street, you can take a picture and send straight to the municipality. And once the problem is fixed, we share the picture. So if you see waste lying on the street or black smoke coming from a public bus, you can take a picture and we'll sort it out for you. So building a social contract, communication between the citizens and the local government, especially the local administration, is something we wanted to highlight on. And lastly, I think in Thailand we have a lot of startups or young people trying to improve not only in environment but a lot on this issue. So giving them space, we have a program, City Lab, where if they have we have the problems that we want to share to them, and if they have potential solutions, we can work together. We can provide pilot area that they can test out. So we're doing that on air pollution, waste management, etc. So getting the smart people, the young people involved, because if we don't care about them, then they feel disheartened, and then they instead of doing good for society, they choose to just look at their private life. So how to bring them to help the city is also a big challenge for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prom. I think you are addressing somehow their common role with that is addressed by Mr. Takahashi from a different angle, like the information sharing and education in some aspects, and also in terms of the local models for businesses or movement. You mentioned the importance of giving spaces for the younger generation, young entrepreneurs for trial and probably error, for repeated trial and error for creating good models. So thank you very much. Now, Mr. Konishi from GUN. You are not from the local administration, but can I also ask what roles from the local government you expect from about their co-creation of the sustainable urban areas, sustainable urban lifestyles?
Thank you very much for asking about this. So from our experiences in waste management, together with the LGUs, so the most important role of the LGU is the leadership, strong leadership of the policy of the improvement of waste management. So strong leadership refers to strong leadership by mayor or governor, but not just top of the city or municipality. So the head of the department is also very important. So when it comes to the solid waste management, typically the resource and recycling division or environmental and natural resources offices in each LGUs, the head of the environmental resource and recycling management division is very, very important. Then not just putting up the system or rules and laws, but continuing the implementation is very important. So as far as we experience in Danao City and Mandaue City, in the case of Danao City, I think the mayor's leadership, not just the mayor, but each division head's leadership is very strong, very concrete. So that's why from the viewpoint of the private recycling company, it's very reliable. So we can see, we can look over the long-term improvement in the solid waste management. And in the case of Mandaue City, the head of the central office, the City Environment and Natural Resources Office, and the focal persons have been continuing the hard work. So communicating with the garbage hauler truck drivers or village chief what is happening on the ground now, then they are continuing it. So the continuation of the improvement, the work for the improvement is very, very important. That's what we'd like to expect to the local government unit for the sustainable society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Konishi. Well, this is, I think what you addressed is quite vital in some challenges. Sometimes the local government, well, I also have some experience that local government introduced a new policy that didn't continue support after the change of the head of the division. Sometimes this will discourage the private sector or civil society to work on certain issues. Thank you very much. Well, we covered the 3 questions, guiding questions, but we still have 6 minutes. So I would like to take the questions or comments from the floor if any of their audience have any questions to particular panelists. Yes, please. Can we share him your microphone?
Thank you for this time. I want to ask for Mr. Porphom. Yes. We know private vehicle are one of the biggest contribution to carbon emission. One, how to change the existing transportation with private transport, private vehicle, and now space road in Indonesia is very, very low. If we to develop public transports like this. Number 2, how can we force all residents of the city to switch mode of transportation from private to public transport? Number 3, what policy or regulator has the government made to achieve this goal if we use development public transport? Number 4, are there any subsidy provided by the government for the provision of public transport? I hear BTS maybe by the service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are 4 questions. Mr. Prom, could you answer some of them or hopefully all of them?
So I think I want to highlight in terms of public transport, you have to focus on the first and the last mile, because there's no point having a very good system, the main lines, but it's difficult to get to the train station. Because if the train lines exist, but it's so difficult to get there, like difficult to walk, there's no access, people just decide to use personal transport anyway. So you need to analyze how to link the places of high population density to the nearest transport station. For example, we do have an EV shuttle bus, which is a feeder system, where we identify an area where it's a big community. Many people live kind of council housing estate, and the nearest train station, and the shuttle bus just run back and forth A to B. That linking the people there into the main line so they can go into the city. Or for example, you think about the bicycle. Bicycle just need to link from same logic. But you think about infrastructure at the train station as well. For example, you need to have a good lock for your bicycle, because if you feel like you might lose your bicycle because you lock and you go to work, that's not good. So we need to have a good infrastructure. You can go to the train station, lock your bike, go to work for the entire day and feel safe that when you come back, your bicycle is still there. Just some public trust is important. And also they could consider, park and ride. For example, you have a train station, but you provide a big space nearby where you can park your car for the entire day and get on the pub. So how to facilitate that first mile and last mile is very important. Or else, you know, unlike many European cities where you can walk, let's say, a kilometer to your nearest train station, Bangkok without temperature, it may be difficult. So you have to be smarter. But of course, we're still looking to improve the footpath as well and ensure that it's universal design. Sometimes you have bad obstacles. For example, street vendors, you need to find a space for them, like a hawker center, so that you clear the street. Also, you have good obstacles, for example, trees. Trees give you good shade, you know, carbon absorption, etc. But sometimes when you have a small footpath, but you have big trees, it could be an obstacle to your way of walking as well. This, what we're experimenting on is on the tree route. Normally it's a concrete block, but now we're trying porous asphalt. So it's a sort of asphalt that water can go through. So this can also ensure that you keep the big tree, but increase the area for walking, because you can step on the porous asphalt, etc. So how to facilitate that the last link to the train station is very important. But also looking to leverage other sorts of transportation modes as well. For example, sharing system. You know, we have three-wheelers that could be a sharing economy. So, you know, use your application and share with others, and also other like water transport. So Bangkok, you know, we're known as Venice of the East. So we have, you know, thousands of kilometers of canals. So how to use that, leverage that to use transport system as well. Sometimes we have canal which pretty much parallel to our biggest rail transportation line. So how to leverage, get people to use that as well. So many different types.
Thank you very much. Is another question?
Urban trees play a big role to control the heat of the city as well as the urban verbal warming as well. Do we have any rule or regulation to plant the trees and maintain the trees in Thailand or any other cities? It is not easy things to maintain the trees in the cities. There are many obstacles and difficulties so then I need to know that one, there are any rules and regulation imposed by your authorities to manage the urban trees. Thank you.
So I think this can be spread into two different topics. So first, we want to plant the trees. It's always good to plant the trees, increase green space, tree canopy, better for air pollution. We have campaigns to plant 1 million trees, which so far we have done well. But we're not just planting the trees for the sake of planting the trees. We need to know where individual trees are being planted, by who, which type of trees, is it perennial trees, shrub trees, and when is it being planted? And we have all that information already on the database, so we know. So you can point out, okay, this district, how many trees being planted, maybe by private citizens, maybe by companies, maybe by BMA. So we know the data, and and then we know every year we can go and check if the tree survives or not. So we all have a process to go check as well. And maybe 2 years on, 3 years on, it can be used to calculate for the carbon that is being absorbed once the tree survived that 2 or 3 years period. Okay, that's the first side of planting the trees, increasing tree canopy in Bangkok. The second side is also very important of how to take care of existing trees. Today we have lots of drama, you know, like sometimes government sector cut the tree branches and people don't understand because maybe the tree branches are too long and it could break down and hit your car, your house. So how to communicate with the people the importance of taking care of the tree. And we have a campaign, we have a policy to train our park personnel to become arborists. So those what we call tree doctor. And we now have a policy that every tree, any tree to be considered for cutting down or trimming of the trees have to pass arborist's eye first. They have to come and give permission that it's possible to cut, to ensure that we considered all the different dimensions before we touch the tree. This is very important as well. So two sides, planting, building more trees, and taking care of the existing trees, and communicating to everyone that why should be trimmed and the reason, etc. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prom. Well, I'd like to take another question, but unfortunately we have run out of time already. So let me wrap up the session. Well, this session tried to address the vital challenges in the cities about the sustainable, decarbonized, and attractive living by the efforts of the citizens, businesses, and of course, local administrations. And the panelists have addressed some of the key elements for this objective. For example, ensuring the inclusive access to the alternative mode, such as the alternative transportation, alternative energy sources, or their information to the waste management, waste separation. And the other important issue is starting with the low-cost, easier action, then eventually invite citizens to the more impactful actions. That is quite important. And as the role of the government, the panelists highlighted the importance of creating the concept and business model or model of the citizen actions for alternative behaviors or alternative co-creations. And to this end, the importance is identifying the key partners, key local leaders, such as the barangay leaders or their local community leaders or religious leaders, and of course their young entrepreneurs, and giving spaces for them to make their creative actions to invite further citizens for their joint efforts to the sustainable cities and sustainable lifestyles. That said, Mr. Konishi also highlighted the importance for the local government to continue actions after launching. So this encouraging citizens and business sector to also continue their efforts, patient efforts toward making decarbonized and resilient lifestyles. So I hope this quite exciting interaction will left some clues for the audience toward their efforts to sustainable development in the city areas and enabling sustainable and resilient, affluent, as well as inclusive living for all in their respective regions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, everyone. Please give a round of applause to all their speakers. Thank you. And next session in this room is going to start at 1 p.m. Hope you will join us. Thank you.